So one of the most important questions that we ask when we start working with any new brand is, how do you want your audience to feel when they interact with your brand? Now that's such an important question because people buy based on an emotional connection and a feeling that they get, and then they back it up with logic afterwards. So it's really important to look at how you want your audience to feel and then what steps we can put in place to evoke that feeling. Think about how many times that you've bought and you've just felt such an emotional investment in that company or brand. It makes a way better shopping experience and it makes it more enjoyable to actually buy and engage with that brand. So that's what we want for your brand as well. So let's jump into the 3 ways that you can really get this feeling across. Step number 1 is to tell a story. So I recently bought a beautiful ring from a jeweler that I love in New York called Wake. And it was such a nice feeling buying from them because I knew so much about their story. I know that their gold is fair mined and that all of their jewels and diamonds and things like that are ethically sourced. And they really do a beautiful job of displaying this and telling that story across their social channels. If you did want to check them out, it's Wake, W-A-A-K-E. But how many brands do you know that you know so much more about them than just what they sell or what they offer? You know the background of like who the founder is maybe, or where they get their materials, or that they're bringing jobs to the local area. Lots of different things that you might know, but it's all about really telling that story that goes over and above just what you sell or how you provide your service. Can you tell a little bit more of the story that makes your brand who it is and makes your business what it is today? And that really gets people to buy into that feeling of that they want to support you. Step number 2 is decide on the desired emotions that you want people to have so you can work backwards. So in that jewelry example, the desired emotions were probably something like excitement and inspiration, because they use these gorgeous designers in New York that are really, really individual and creative, and they really tell that story beautifully, as well as obviously everything being ethically sourced. So they probably want people to feel inspired by that, to feel excited about that, and that was definitely the emotions that I was feeling when I was making that purchase. It does not always have to be a positive emotion. Sometimes you might want to first bring in a negative emotion and then a positive. And an example of that would be, for example, if you were doing something a little bit different that people have tried many times before. Say if you're a health coach or a fitness coach or something along those lines, where you want to tell a story through your socials, through your website, everything like that, and make them feel like you get them. So maybe you want to talk about first, are you frustrated? Talk to your audience about, are you feeling frustrated because you've tried XYZ? And then you talk about how that doesn't work, but what you do has a complete new spin on things. And then they start feeling excited about a new path that you can lead them on. So it doesn't always have to be just positive. You can bring in some of those frustrations as well and really try to evoke a negative response from people too, just so you connect to them and you show them, I get how you're feeling. So really you want to think about how the desired feeling should be for your audience, connect with that, and then you could kind of pivot. So it could be frustration to excitement, or it could just all be positive and it could be something like inspired and excited, something like that, but you want to think about how they should feel, and then everything stems from that. Your copy, your socials, anything you put out there, you ask yourself, is this going to evoke that kind of response from people? So it really helps to just navigate the world of social media, the world of just the digital space, and really get to know what you should be putting out there to keep on brand and to make sure that you're getting that emotional connection with people with everything you do. And step number 3 is to keep that emotion front and center of your mind every time you put out content or you do anything. So, for us, if we're creating a brand and that brand wants people to feel comfortable and welcome and things like that, then we're going to use really, open, rounded fonts that really make people feel comfortable and at ease, rather than everything in like all caps and looking really stylish and slick, which might make people feel a little bit intimidated or a little bit nervous to engage. So all these things should be taken into consideration. However, some brands, they might want people to feel not intimidated, but like they're really going to an expert or someone that really knows their stuff, and then in that scenario, if you want to be seen as kind of like the person that's the guide or the wise archetype of a brand, then you might want to have more serious like uppercases, things like that. But if you were wanting to create a really welcome, like a friend, like the brand is going to be a friend to you and you're on the same level, then we look at doing things like open fonts, and you know, the color tones would be very neutral, lots of color to make them feel at ease, rather than monochrome, which might be more kind of stylish and aspirational. So these are all things that we keep in mind. So it's so important to kind of know what that feeling is. And even with the copy, you know, if you did want people to feel welcome, if you wanted people to just feel comfortable and at ease, the copy would be very conversational. It'd be like talking to a friend. Whereas if you did want to be that more guide or the kind of wise archetype of a brand, then you're probably going to want the copy to be more like informative and you know, position you as the expert. So it's so important to understand what that feeling should be so that we can then work backwards and everything will play out around that. I always say that branding is really part art and part science, and it's so important to really think of all of these elements to create a brand that's going to stand the test of time and that's really going to engage with people rather than just a logo. So I hope this video has helped. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out and look forward to connecting soon.